3 simple ways to start a conversation in English. Have you ever been in this situation? You're standing next to someone who speaks English. Maybe you're at work. Maybe you're at school. Maybe you're traveling. Maybe you're at a coffee shop. Or maybe you've just met someone new. You want to talk to them. You want to practice your English. You want to make a new friend. But suddenly, your mind goes blank. You think, what should I say? How do I start? What if I say something wrong? And before you know it, the moment is gone. You say nothing. You walk away. And later, you think, I should have said something. Well, if this happens to you, you're not alone. And today, I'm going to help you. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you 3 simple ways to start a conversation in English. Not complicated English, not difficult grammar, just simple, natural English that you can actually use in real life. And here's the best part. At the end of this video, we're going to practice together. I'll give you real situations and you'll have a chance to answer out loud. So don't just watch this video. Speak with me. Because the goal isn't just to understand English. The goal is to use it. Welcome back to Bb.English Cast. This is the place where we practice real English, build confidence, and learn how to speak without being afraid of making mistakes. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been watching our videos, thank you for coming back. Before we start, I want you to remember one important thing. Starting a conversation in English does not have to be difficult. You don't need a perfect vocabulary. You don't need perfect grammar. And you definitely don't need to sound like a native speaker. You just need a simple sentence to open the door. Think about a conversation like opening a door. You don't need to walk through the entire house immediately. You just need to open the door. Once the conversation starts, you can continue naturally. So today, I'm going to give you 3 simple conversation starters. We're going to look at, number 1, asking a simple question. Number 2, making an observation. And number 3, giving a simple compliment. I'll explain each one. I'll give you examples, and then we'll practice together. So, let's get started. Part 1. Ask a simple question. The first way to start a conversation is very simple. Ask a question. This is one of the easiest ways to start talking to someone because a question gives the other person something to respond to. Let's imagine you're at a coffee shop. You see someone sitting near you. You want to start a conversation. You could simply ask, have you been here before? That's it. It's simple, it's natural, and it gives the other person an opportunity to answer. They might say, yes, I come here all the time. Or, no, this is my first time. Now you have something to talk about. You can continue with, oh, really? What do you like about this place? Or, really? How did you hear about this place? And suddenly, you have a conversation. You didn't need a complicated sentence. You just asked one simple question. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're at work. You see a new person in your office. You could say, are you new here? They might say, yes, I started this week. Now you can continue. Oh, nice. What department are you working in? Or, how are you finding it so far? Again, one simple question opened the door to a conversation. Now let's imagine you're at a social event. You don't know anyone. You see someone standing alone. You can ask, how do you know the host? This is a very useful question. The person might say, I've known her for years. And now you can say, oh, really? How did you meet? And the conversation continues. So remember, you don't need to think of a perfect question. You just need a simple question that fits the situation. Here are 5 questions you can use to start a conversation. Have you been here before? How do you know the host? Are you new here? What brings you here today? How's your day going? These are simple questions, but simple doesn't mean useless. Simple English is often the most useful English. Now, let's practice. Imagine we're meeting for the first time. I'll say, hi, nice to meet you. Now it's your turn. What question could you ask me? Pause the video, think of a question, and say it out loud. I'll give you 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. You could say, "Where are you from?" Or, "What do you do?" Or, "How's your day going?" Excellent. The important thing is that you spoke, you practiced, and that's what matters. Let's move on to the second way. Part 2. Make a simple observation. The second way to start a conversation is to make an observation. An observation is simply something you notice about the situation around you. You don't have to ask a question immediately. You can simply say something about what's happening. For example, imagine you're waiting for a bus. You look around, you notice that the bus is late today. You could say, "This bus is taking a long time today." The person next to you might laugh and say, "I know, I've been waiting for 20 minutes. And now, you're having a conversation. You didn't plan it, you didn't memorize a long sentence, you simply talked about something that you both experienced. Here's another example. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. You're waiting in line. You could say, "It's really busy today." The person next to you might say, "Yeah, I never seen it this busy." Now you can continue. "Do you usually come here?" And there you go. The conversation has started. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're at an airport. You notice that your flight has been delayed. You could say, "Looks like our flight is delayed again." Someone nearby might respond, "Yeah, I just got the notification." You could then say, "Hopefully it won't be too long." Now, you're talking. It's that simple. When you make an observation, you're talking about something that is happening right now. This makes the conversation easier because you don't have to think of a completely new topic. You can talk about what's happening around you. Here are some useful observation starters. "It's really busy today." "Beautiful weather today." "Looks like we're going to be here for a while." "This place is really nice." "It's much quieter than I expected." "That's a beautiful view." "Looks like it's going to rain." These are simple sentences, but they can start conversations. Now let's practice. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop. It's very busy. There are people everywhere. What could you say to someone sitting next to you? You could say, "It's really busy today." Now imagine you're waiting for a bus. The bus is 10 minutes late. You could say, "This bus is taking a long time today." Imagine you're outside and the weather is beautiful. You could say, "Beautiful weather today." See? You don't need to create a complicated conversation. You simply notice something, you say it, and you give the other person an opportunity to respond. That's the second way. Make a simple observation. Part 3. Give a simple compliment. Now let's talk about the third way. You can start a conversation by giving someone a simple compliment. A compliment is something positive you say about another person. For example, "I really like your jacket." "That's a nice watch." "I like your shoes." "That's a great bag." But remember something important. Your compliment should be natural and appropriate for the situation. You don't want to make the other person uncomfortable. Keep it simple. For example, imagine someone is wearing a t-shirt with the logo of your favorite sports team. You could say, "Hey, I like your shirt. Are you a fan of the team?" Now you've given a compliment, but you've also asked a question. The person might say, "Yes, I've been a fan for years." And now you can say, "Really? Me too. What's your favorite player?" They answer, and now you have something in common. You found a connection. The conversation started with one simple sentence. "I like your shirt." That's all. Here's another example. Imagine you're at work. A coworker gives a presentation. After the presentation, you could say, "That was a great presentation." They might say, "Thank you. I was really nervous." You could respond, "Really? You didn't look nervous at all." Now you're having a conversation. A simple compliment opened the door. Let's look at another example. Imagine you're at a social event. Someone has brought an interesting book. You could say, "That's an interesting book. Is it good?" This is a compliment and a question together. They might say, "Yeah,
I really like it. And now you can ask, what is it about? The conversation continues. So, here are some simple compliments you can use. I like your jacket. That's a nice watch. I like your shoes. That's a great bag. That was a great presentation. That's an interesting book. That's a beautiful photo. But remember, the goal isn't to memorize every sentence. The goal is to learn the pattern. Notice something, say something positive, then, if appropriate, ask a question. That's it. Now let's practice. Guided practice. Let's start conversations together. Okay, now it's your turn. We're going to practice 3 real-life situations. I want you to imagine that you're actually there. Don't just listen, speak. Ready? Let's go.
Situation 1. Coffee shop. Imagine you're sitting in a coffee shop. Someone is sitting at the table next to you. You've never met this person before. You want to start a conversation. What could you say? You could ask, "Have you been here before?" Now imagine they say, "No, this is my first time." What could you say next? Maybe, "Really? I come here sometimes. The coffee's pretty good." Or, "What do you think of the place so far?" Excellent. You've just started a conversation. Now let's try again. Imagine you don't want to ask a question. You could make an observation. Look around. It's very busy. You could say, "It's really busy today." The person says, "Yeah, I didn't expect so many people." You could respond, "Me neither. I guess this place is popular." And now you're talking. See how easy that can be? Situation 2. At work. Now imagine you're at work. There's a new person in your office. You want to talk to them. You could say, "Hi, are you new here?" They say, "Yes, I started this week." You say, "Oh, nice. How are you finding it so far?" They say, "Everyone has been really friendly." You say, "That's good to hear. What department are you working in?" Look at that. You've just had a conversation. You didn't need complicated English. You simply asked a question. Then you listened to the answer. Then you asked another question. That's the secret. A conversation is not a speech. You don't have to prepare everything before you speak. You just need to listen, then respond, then ask another question. Situation 3. Social event. Now imagine you're at a party or a social event. You see someone wearing a shirt from your favorite sports team. You could say, "Hey, I like your shirt. Are you a fan of the team?" They say, "Yeah, I've been a fan for years." You say, "Really? Me too. What's your favorite player?" They answer, and now you have something in common. You found a connection. The conversation started with one simple sentence. "I like your shirt." That's all. The biggest mistake to avoid. Now, before we finish, I want to talk about one mistake that many English learners make. They try to think of the perfect sentence. They think, what is the most impressive thing I can say? What if my grammar is wrong? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't understand me? And because they're thinking about all of these things, they don't say anything. Remember this. Your goal is not to impress people with your English. Your goal is to connect with people. You don't need perfect English to have a conversation. You need courage, you need practice, and you need a few simple phrases that you can use again and again. So don't wait until your English is perfect. Start with simple English. Start with one question. Start with one observation. Start with one compliment. And let the conversation grow naturally. Your speaking challenge. Now, I have a challenge for you. I want you to practice these 3 conversation starters today. Number 1, ask a simple question. For example, how's your day going? Number 2, make a simple observation. For example, it's really busy today. Number 3, give a simple compliment. For example, I like your jacket. Your challenge is to say each sentence out loud. But don't stop there. Create your own examples.
Think about your life. Where do you go every day? Maybe you go to work. Maybe you go to school. Maybe you visit a coffee shop. Maybe you take public transportation. Maybe you meet new people. Think about those situations and ask yourself, what could I say? Practice saying it, because the more you practice speaking, the easier speaking becomes. You don't become confident and then start speaking. You start speaking, and that's how you become confident. CTA Outro. So let's quickly review what we learned today. If you want to start a conversation in English, you have 3 simple options. Number 1, ask a simple question. Have you been here before? How's your day going? What brings you here today? Number 2, make a simple observation. It's really busy today. Beautiful weather today. Looks like we're going to be here for a while. And number 3, give a simple compliment. I like your jacket. That's a nice watch. That was a great presentation. Remember, you don't need perfect English to start a conversation. You just need to start. So here's my question for you. Imagine you're meeting someone new for the first time. What would you say to start a conversation? Write your answer in the comments below. And don't worry about making mistakes. This is a place to practice. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like this video. And if you want to improve your English speaking, practice real conversations, and become more confident in English, subscribe to Bb.English Cast. We're going to keep learning and practicing together. And remember, don't wait for perfect English. Start with simple English. Start with 1 sentence. Start today. I'll see you in the next video. Keep practicing, keep speaking, and most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Bye for now.